in the offseason in regards to some of the open roster spots and the Raptors having basically only minimum contracts to give out. And these vet minimum deals can often land players that, maybe are past their prime, but can still offer a lot from an IQ standpoint and from a veteran presence standpoint. One of those players that would absolutely provide that for the Raptors is Kyle Lowry. And he was still a free agent up until this week, but he has decided to return to the Philadelphia 76ers. So let's talk about what Kyle Lowry can still bring to the NBA and if he will ever return to the Raptors. I do remember one of the comments was worried, how is Kyle Lowry going to retire a Raptor? How is Kyle Lowry going to come back to the team? Like, he's already going back to this was before he signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, but, Kyle Lowry has said, I'm definitely retiring as a Raptor. He made his intentions clear for his final day in the NBA. He wants to retire as a Toronto Raptor. Like, Kyle Lowry is a Raptor. I think Kyle Lowry has a very, very good chance of making the Hall of Fame. If he goes to the Hall of Fame, he will go in as a Raptor. Now, there's a Raptor I can really respect being in the Hall of Fame. There's a Raptor I can really respect having a number retired. I want a statue outside of the Scotiabank Arena. We'll see if we get that. I mean, the Leafs have a lot of statues and stuff, right? The Blue Jays have one statue, and it's of fucking Ted Rogers. That's the caliber of ownership that we're now going to be dealing with. The one statue they have out of the Blue Jays ballpark. All these fantastic players, Hall of Famers, guys who have won World Series. We fucking Ted Rogers statue outside. Like, corporate nightmare. Raptors absolutely should have a Kyle Lowry statue. You look at the 6 straight All-Star appearances. If the Raptors hadn't been in Tampa this year, it might have been 7 consecutive All-Star appearances. Like what a career he had. He probably should have had some all-defense team selections. I think he should have at least one. He probably could have had 2. He had an All-NBA selection in 2015-16. He absolutely could have had more All-NBA selections as part of the Raptors. Like, what an absolutely phenomenal player for the team. But like I said, he's back in the NBA playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. Decided to go in on a 1-year deal. Sixers, really trying to, fix up for this season. They've made some moves in order to try and help that, and they still feel as though the presence of Kyle Lowry is something that they can bank on and get value out of. And, I mean, 2 years ago in the playoffs, Kyle Lowry was still bringing some decent performances for the Sixers, but the problem is really just his production. It fell off a cliff last season. He still started 12 games. He still got some ability, but he averaged 4 points. He averaged 35% shooting from the field. He averaged 33% shooting from 3. Just not the same player anymore. We all know why Kyle Lowry has made this signing, why the Sixers signed him. This is absolutely that veteran presence sort of signing. And for the Raptors, to be honest, that spot is already filled. We've got the basically assistant coach who's on the player roster. We've got that role. We've got Garrett Temple doing that. And you think about this current group of Raptors players, they all really like Garrett Temple. They're resonating well with Garrett Temple. That's their guy. As unfortunate as it is, it hasn't been that long since Kyle Lowry left, but none of the current roster is going to resonate with Kyle Lowry as a vet as much as they would right now with Garrett Temple. So I don't really think that was ever quite on the table for Kyle Lowry to make a return in some sort of playing capacity for the Raptors this season. But, it's important to remember, we've talked about betting on this stream already with the Raptors win total, but something that you won't be able to bet on that would absolutely be a surefire bet for myself at any price pretty much. Kyle Lowry will retire a Raptor. We see it all the time. Players will sign a 1-day contract to return to their team and retire with that team, and that's going to be Kyle Lowry with the Raptors. At this point, with the Raptors and their current status and the rebuild, and Kyle Lowry with his production, I would think that this is going to be Kyle Lowry's final year in the NBA. It's sad to think about, but this is probably Kyle Lowry's last year in the NBA. I don't see him signing another contract in the NBA, and I don't see the Raptors having a desire to bring in Kyle Lowry. So for me, again, we probably have seen the last of Kyle Lowry in a Raptors uniform. Very likely we have. But we might be able to, I mean, I think we very much will see him return to the Raptors on a one-day contract to retire. And it'll be a special day. And hopefully, I mean, if the Sixers do well, hopefully we can bolster this Hall of Fame probability a little bit more. This is the Basketball Reference Hall of Fame Probability Index, and they have Kyle Lowry listed at just about 86% chance to get into the Hall of Fame. And like you look at the players around him on the list, typically players who are in this range, they're getting in. They get in. A lot of the players, even just above like 50%, these are players that are getting in. So I absolutely believe Kyle Lowry, NBA champion, 6-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, will get into the Hall of Fame as a Raptor, and also will retire and take his final day in the NBA. Even if it's just a one-day contract, he'll have his final day in the NBA as a Raptor as well. I feel strongly about those. My only hope, I believe he'll be in the Hall of Fame and he'll retire a Raptor. He'll have his number retired. My only hope is that a statue comes for him as well.